Hey there, Careblazer. In this video, I want to share 3 simple steps I follow whenever I'm feeling a super negatively charged emotion like resentment. For you, it might be resentment, but it could be any other type of super negatively charged emotion like anger or frustration or even jealousy. Now, these types of emotions are different than other uncomfortable negative emotions like grief or sadness, which we would probably want to feel from time to time, especially when something hard or heartbreaking happens. Those are natural emotions. But things like resentment, jealousy, those are things that usually don't ever serve us in good ways, and they certainly don't serve your loved one with dementia. So I want to share the 3 steps I work through, and then at the end, I'm going to share and answer a question that one of you asked me, and it was to the effect of, but what if it's true? What if the thing you are feeling resentment over is true? So I'll answer that question for you as well. So for those of you who don't know, since about May of this year, lots of my time has been going to caring for my dad. And I am not proud of this, but I have lots of thoughts like, this isn't fair. I shouldn't have to do this. My dad should have taken better care of himself. He should have saved more money. Other family members should help out more. All of these thoughts happen. And as you could imagine, they don't make me feel very good. In fact, those are the very things that fuel my resentment. So what can I do about this? And what can you do about this if you're having similar thoughts? So step 1 is to just acknowledge that we are human. And as humans, we are going to have feelings that don't feel very good. We're going to have these thoughts that we are not very proud of. But at the bottom of it all is we're just human beings, and it does not mean that we are bad people. It doesn't mean that you are a bad caregiver. It just means that as human beings, sometimes we are going to think and feel things that we are not necessarily proud of, the things that we don't want to admit out loud, but inside we think, oh my gosh, is something wrong with us? That's why I'm doing this video, because I want to let you know, no, nothing's wrong with you. You're just in a really difficult situation. So that's step 1, just acknowledge we're human. It's okay. You don't have to berate yourself or bring yourself down for it. Step 2, this is really important, is to acknowledge and become aware that the only reason you are feeling that emotion is because you are having a thought that is creating that emotion. This is what I mean by that. My dad's situation is not responsible for my resentment. What I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, that's not what's causing my resentment. The thing that's causing my resentment are the thoughts like, I shouldn't have to do this and family should help out more. Whenever I have those thoughts, that's what leads to resentment. So it's really important that we realize that connection. And again, like I mentioned, I'll share what to do when the thought is true, like family should help out more. So that's the second step. The third step is I literally talk to myself and give myself thoughts that will make me feel better, that will not lead to resentment. So this sounds like when I notice those thoughts, like this isn't fair, I shouldn't have to do this, I end up instead thinking, I can do this, I am doing this, I know this is temporary, this will pass. I put those thoughts inside of my head, and I have to do that intentionally with purpose, because if I didn't, my brain on default is going to continue to think all those things leading to resentment. So I have to purposefully choose thoughts that would make me feel better. Literally, I talk to myself like that in my head when I notice those other thoughts pop in. And I would encourage you to do the same. So those are the 3 steps to recap. Acknowledge you're human. It doesn't mean anything bad about you as a caregiver. Acknowledge that what you are feeling is coming from your thoughts, not the situation. So many people put all the attention and focus and blame on the situation, but it's always you're thinking about the situation. And that's really good news, because we can't change the situation. I can't change the fact that my dad is sick right now, but I can certainly change the way I think about it. So we always want to put our attention onto what we can control. That will always lead to us doing better, feeling better, taking better actions, versus putting our attention on things that are not in our control. That will always lead us to feel overwhelmed, powerless, and it's not a good situation. So that's step number 2. Realize it's coming from your thoughts. Step number 3 is to insert on purpose the thoughts that would serve you better. In my case, it's that I know this is temporary and I know I can do this. I'm literally doing this, and those are things that help me. Sometimes I even think to myself, having those thoughts aren't helpful. Like when I notice the negative ones pop up, I literally will just say to myself, yeah, that's never going to get me anywhere. That's never going to make me feel better. And sometimes just acknowledging that helps for it to kind of subside and go away. Now, to the question, I posted a quick reel on my Instagram, kind of talking a little bit about how I deal with resentment personally. And somebody commented and said, yeah, but it's true. My family should help out more and they don't. And I can relate to this for sure. So here's the thing about our thoughts. Our thoughts always lead to our feelings. It doesn't matter whether the thought is true or not. For example, I think 100% it's true that my dad should have taken better care of himself. And I 100% think it's true that my dad should have saved more money. Those are thoughts that in my mind, I'm like, that's 100% true. But here's the important piece. Thinking it doesn't help. It leads me to feel resentment. Now, the reason this is important when it comes to caregiving for your loved one is that from a place of resentment or jealousy or anger or any of those other super negatively charged emotions, just imagine how you show up in caregiving. It's never going to help. It's certainly not going to make you feel better because guess what? You're the one feeling resentment, not your loved one. You're the one who has to feel the jealousy, not the other family member who gets to go on vacation. You're the one who gets to feel the anger, nobody else. And so we have to first realize like the thought, even if it's true, if it's causing you to feel a super negatively charged emotion you don't want to, that is reason enough to change it, whether or not it is true. We get to choose where we put our focus. Just because something is true doesn't mean I'm going to keep focusing on it. I'm going to focus on the thing that's going to serve me in my life better, and I get to focus on the thing that's also going to end up serving my caregiving better, my loved one better, my family better. Could you imagine the ramifications and the impact if I showed up in caregiving and showed up in interactions with my family from a place of resentment? It wouldn't go so well. It would make it less likely that my dad would ever want me to come around and help. It would make it less likely that my family would ever want to help me in the future. I'd probably have less and less contact with them. I'd probably be saying and doing things to push everybody away because that's how resentment shows up. I'd probably be a little passive aggressive with them. So we have to be aware that these negative emotions we don't want to feel when we show up in caregiving from that, we just make our whole situation more difficult. So it doesn't matter if the thought is true. It doesn't matter if family should help out more, or my dad should have taken better care of himself, or your loved one should have saved more money. And none of that matters. What matters is how is it making you feel, and the way that that makes you feel is going to impact your caregiving. And I know resentment's never going to benefit caregiving, never going to help my relationship with my family, ever. So I purposely choose to think something else. That's it. I hope that this helps you. I would love to know your thoughts about it. Can you see how these 3 steps can benefit you, and in doing so, ultimately benefit your loved one with dementia? Because let me tell you, showing up to caregiving and with family members from a place of compassion or patience or understanding is certainly a much better experience for everybody, most importantly myself, than it is if I show up from a place of resentment. We sometimes think that we need to change these feelings and then our loved one is getting away with something, or our family members are getting away with something. That's a backwards way of thinking. They're not getting away with anything. They're still doing the same thing. It's still the same reality. It's the same situation, except instead of you feeling resentment, you get to feel something different, something else, like patience, understanding, acceptance, peace, something better. In the end, it really is about you and helping you through this difficult caregiving situation. So much difficult situations and challenges you are going to face. The goal of this video is to hopefully not make that situation any harder on yourself by what's going on up here in our minds. I am sending you so much love. If this is really resonating with you, if you'd like to learn more about how you do have control and power to change how you feel, how do we catch these thoughts? How do we change these thoughts and believe them? Because you can't just think a sentence or think a new thought and have it change the way you feel. You actually have to believe that new thought. So how do you practice believing new things that you know are better for you and ultimately for your loved one? I would invite you to check out my care course, Live Support, where we talk about this stuff all the time. We have support rooms with other Careblazers, live Q&As, expert series, all kinds of things. This is what we're diving deep into, and it's just an amazing supportive community. There's a link below this video you can click to learn more. Here's to all of us feeling more peace. Sending you love. Bye. Also, Nico gets a belly rub for every person who subscribes from this video. So if you haven't already, click the red subscribe button. It's totally free, and Nico says thank you very much.